Welcome to Modcast number 16. I'm Gordo. That's Gary. And we got a new guy, Derek Bruton, our new head of M&A and partnership development. Welcome to the firm. Welcome to the Modcast, Derek Bruton.
Hello. It's good to be on the Modcast. I've seen a lot of these. Wonder when I get my chance, and the day's here.
Yeah, I mean, wonder no more. Gary, how are you?
I'm great, Gordo. It's great to be here. It's great to have Derek. I'll stop saying great.
Well, let me ask you this. Gary, your audio is amazing today. Did you
Thank you.
use the sparkle filter by chance?
Yeah, I added a little sparkle. We are filming this during the holiday season.
Right.
I
Yeah.
added a little sparkle and also a little depth because
You do sound deep. Yes.
I might not have been deep enough. So
Right.
yeah, sparkle and depth, treble and bass really, but it's called sparkle and depth. It's more fun.
All right. Enough with the fun. Well, let's get right into it. So we have Derek Bruton. We're super excited to introduce Derek to everyone. He's been here just a short amount of time. He's already making a big impact on the business. Derek and I spent a lot of time together recently. He was with Mike Capelli recently and out on a world tour, if you will. There's been lots of articles and things written about Derek joining. But Derek, we are so grateful to have you. We're excited to have you. Let's hop into a couple of things. Like background. Where did you come from? What's your story? Give us the 2 minutes on kind of the Derek Bruton career.
You know, where I'm from is often a trivia question that shows up in different parties and such.
It's a pretty
I'm
stinky place.
Yeah, I'm from the garlic capital of the world, not just
Yeah.
the United States, the world. And that would be Gilroy, California, near San Jose in the Bay Area. And proud to be from the garlic capital. And yes, I've taken a lot of showers over those years. So, the garlic jokes keep coming, pretty fast and furious. But yeah, went, grew up there and enjoyed my time. Went to school in the Bay Area. But yeah, I'm a California guy.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about school. Little known school in the Bay Area, right? I mean, not very well known. What was it?
Yeah, it's not Cal. It's the other one. It's Stanford, right? And it was about an hour and 15 minutes up the coast. I played basketball in college, so it allowed my parents to come see me play when I was there, which was great. But far enough away that I didn't get the pop-ins from the parents, so that was good too.
Perfect.
All right. So basketball guy, for those that don't know, let's just do the stats. We had to give Gary stats, my stats, other people. It's now you. You're seated today during the recording of the Modcast. How tall are you?
I'm 6'10", 2 meters 8 inches. If you're in Canada or international, I use that a lot.
We don't broadcast there. We're a U.S. only exclusive. Yeah.
The broadcast doesn't reach those parts of the world. Okay. Yeah. Well, someday it will, and then we'll be prepared, right?
Yeah, we're on the geographically restricted internet that everyone knows about.
Oh, okay.
All right. So 6'10", played basketball at Stanford, a center, correct?
That was correct. 6'10" was a center. Now
Right.
6'10" guys bring the ball up the court.
I'm just going to say
I wasn't allowed
Yeah.
to dribble, you guys, in college. I was restricted from dribbling. I think I dribbled twice in my 4 years and got pulled out of the game once for dribbling. And I think the other one, it just fell out of my hands, looked like a dribble.
So you just get the ball kind of in the post, take as many steps as possible, see if the ref would call traveling, and then shoot it. And was that kind of the way you did it?
Yeah, I wish
we
it
need
was
to go
that
back
easy.
and find some highlights.
Yeah, they would, if I took those many steps, they definitely called traveling, and then I get pulled out of the game for that one too. So, make it sound like I didn't have a lot of playing time in college. But no, I mean, between the traveling and the dribbling, I got some shots up and scored some points, and it was a good time.
So Derek, Stanford, went off to Japan, played professional basketball in Japan, met Helen, the love of your life, came back, and you started your career. I mean, Derek has an amazing career, right? He was at Schwab, TD Ameritrade, LPL. He's been in advisory, around advisory his entire career. Give us a couple of lessons learned in the in the time that you've spent in the industry, your whole career?
Well, when I came back, I played ball in Japan for 3 years. I came back, but when I was over in Japan, a lot of folks don't know this, is that's actually when I started my career in financial services. I was an equity analyst covering Latin American equities in Japan for a Japanese company. So take all that in for a second. That was my first job out of college. Didn't know what I was doing, but also knew that I wouldn't be there that long. But when I came back to the States, I had contacted a Stanford alum, and they said, you really ought to talk to this guy who was at Kidder Peabody at the time, and some of our listeners will remember Kidder
Wow.
Peabody, a brokerage
Yeah.
firm. And they said, talk to this guy because he's in financial services and perhaps he's got a job for you. So I started talking to him, and I said, look, I'm interested in the securities industry and would like to learn more. And he kind of looked at me quizzically and said, why would you want to get into that industry? And I'm like, well, I don't know. I think it'd be pretty interesting. And I've got a few years of background in Japan. And he goes, yeah, I don't get it for a Stanford grad. And I was like, well, I want to be in your business. And he goes, oh, I thought you said the security industry, like you wanted to carry a gun and police. So I said, no, I said, I don't want to carry a gun. Where are you going? I want to be in your business. And so, my whole life and my whole career could have gone a completely different direction at that point had I not corrected that trajectory there. But anyway, I got into the business as an RIA back in the early 90s. And I frankly, at that time, didn't really care for the investing side of the business. I enjoyed bringing in business, the sales side, if you will. And from there, I decided to go the custodian route, which is essentially working with advisors and working with RIAs, but from the custody side of the table. And for the bulk of my career, that's where I've been, working with advisors and 25,000 plus over my 35-year career.
That's crazy. I mean, you've seen it all, right? You've worked in an RIA, you led an RIA, you've been on the custodian platforms, you were at LPL, you held major roles in all these organizations. I think your bio says you recruited over 10,000 advisors in your career. You've worked with over 20,000 firms in your career. I mean, you've kind of seen the entire industry evolve. And you've worked with advisors at kind of every level that you could imagine. What are some observations of like, what do you wish you would have known in 2005, 10 that you know today that you would love to like implement that in your life right now? What would you have done differently?
I don't know if I would have done anything differently. The course of my career has allowed me to, I think, gain unbelievable perspective on this industry. And the perspective has taught me there's a ton of similarities across many different business lines, across advisors, across the institutions they work with, how they run their businesses, a ton of similarities, but obviously major differences. And being able to navigate those similarities and differences in my career, I think, has allowed me to achieve the success I've had and in the ability to work with so many talented people over that time frame. But that perspective continues today, even in the role that I'm in now with Modern Wealth. It's allowed me to be able to speak to certain people in one language, so to speak. Maybe that's the RIA and the BD language.
Yeah.
Other cases, just the RIA side. It depends on where people came from. A lot of folks in this business are in second careers. Some came from wirehouses. Some came from an accounting background. But having that perspective and having that 35 years of experience in working with all different flavors of folks and industries and such allows me to be a little bit of a chameleon as I go into these conversations and adapt and speak their languages.
Yeah, you have a body of work that you can draw, like experiences that you can draw from. It's you and I were together last week, and I said, yeah, it's like the plumber. He comes in and he fixes something in 5 minutes and gives you an $800 invoice, and it wasn't the 5 minutes they spent fixing the problem. It was the 25 or 30 or 35 years in your case of experience of knowing what tool, what repair needed to happen, and how to get it done very quickly and effectively. And that's, I mean, basically you're taking that body of work and bringing it to Modern as our new head of M&A and partnership development, leading the team. But okay, so we talked about your custodial background, a little bit about your RIA background and working with advisors. Where were you most recently?
So I was with an investment banking group called Gladstone Group, based out of Philly. I'm in San Diego, but the headquarters was in Philly. And talking about perspective,
Yeah, that's where we're going.
Yeah. In my history, I've worked on what we would call the buy side of the industry. I've worked on the sell side. I've done a number and been involved in a number of transactions where I've been a part of selling businesses, many in the case of buying businesses. But, Gordon and Gary, I'd never been in the middle of that. And that's what you are as an investment banker. You stand in between a buyer and a seller, oftentimes, most of the time representing a seller, sometimes the buyer. But you are coordinating this transaction and taking it from an idea of somebody wanting to potentially sell their business to the finish line of where they have sold that business and are now part of in a partnership with a new firm. And it's extremely exciting, this whole process. It's a ton of work because you're not just dealing with the facts of what are involved in the transactions. You're mostly dealing with the emotions of people who are oftentimes selling the biggest single asset in their lives and taking them through this journey from start to finish with a lot of potential bumps in the road, a lot of people and personalities and firms they're meeting and cultures they're looking at and trying to identify whether there's synergies or not. And you're guiding that process. And sometimes, I'm the adult in the room, often we used to say, because of all those emotions and sorting those things out. So, it's just an extremely enjoyable experience. I probably did around 15 transactions in 4 years and mostly we're representing the sellers as they look to sell their businesses to firms like Modern. And in fact, I was involved in many of those transactions with Modern. So, which is how I got to meet you guys. Well, I knew you before, but how I really got to meet you as Modern anyway.
Yeah. As Gary adjusted his microphone to gain depth, you had a lot of depth of knowledge about Modern and who we were and what we were doing. Gary, I mean, I'm hogging all the questions here. I'm excited Derek's here, but what ask you?
Well, I think first of all, it's rare to find someone who's had sort of the variety of experiences you had. So one of the things we've talked a lot about on our previous episodes is how the acquisition marketplace has changed and accelerated, especially in the last 4 to 6 years. So I'm just curious, you were sort of kind of in the slipstream of that at Gladstone over the last 4 years. What was that experience like for you in kind of guiding sellers and maybe just tell us a little bit about your perspective on that.
Yeah, well, Gary, first of all, business was good because, and I've heard the previous Modcast, you guys have talked about this. The amount of consolidation and the pace of consolidation in our industry is still, I would say, at an all-time high. I mean, every year it hits another high.
Right.
And it makes sense when you look at the underlying factors of what are contributing to that consolidation. Advisors are getting deeper into their careers. They're getting older. Many of them still don't have succession plans. They have G2 advisors and staff that are wanting to push the firm, whereas in many cases, the primary owner, the founder, is looking to potentially slow down in their careers. There's, valuations are hitting all-time highs seemingly every year, more entrants into this space, private equity firms, buyers. And so all of this is the perfect storm that manifests itself in on an unbelievable level of consolidation. And as a banker and as a buyer with Modern, it's a good time to be in our business. We're solving problems for people. We're finding solutions for them, their staff, and ultimately what this is all about, right, is their clients. And like I said, it's an exciting time. Saw that firsthand, first row seat at Gladstone as we brought these parties together and saw the reasons why, and why people were wanting to go in this direction. And it's a little tough for people that have been independent for many, many years to sit there and say, I'm going to partner with somebody, become an employee of somebody else, albeit a shareholder, but also an employee of somebody else, and move back to where I was maybe 20, 30 years ago. It's tough, but at the same time, the benefits of going in that direction for many firms far outweigh the challenges of maybe turning back the clock and becoming a W-2 employee again. So anyway, you guys know all this, but I was living that firsthand in Gladstone, and in my short month or 5 weeks at Modern, I'm seeing it again, same thing.
No, I think that was great. I mean, it's a great summary of where things are. And, obviously everyone, when you're in this business, we're all observing the same thing, but from slightly different views. So it's great to have you here, having had a different view than the one we've had, over the last however many years.
Too many.
Too many. And I agree. It's probably one of the most dynamic times I've seen in the 20 odd plus years I've been in this space. Because I like to say, like, there are entire years where, like, if I think about certain years, I'm like, not much happened that year, but this is a very dynamic time, and it feels like an exciting time in the space. A lot of change, as you said, a lot of consolidation, but still very early in that stage, because I mean, there's people don't, it's incredible. There's 17,000 or so RIAs out there in this business. So there's many, many, many more than we hear about. We hear the headlines about, a handful of firms that do make acquisitions, including ours, but it's still a very big market, and you still have advisors coming into the market from the wirehouse channel. And presumably we're going to start seeing some young people starting their own RIAs, coming maybe out of wirehouses or elsewhere, and creating that next generation that's going to be building for the next 20 years.
Gary, you mentioned 17,000 or so RIAs. I mean, I'd almost double that number of independent advisors or independent businesses, wealth managers that are working under or that utilize the RIA of another firm,
Platform,
whether it be in the broker dealer or somebody else.
Yep.
Right.
And those firms are just every bit as independent as the RIAs that we see out there. But they fly under the radar screen because they utilize somebody else's RIA. So there's, and they're same demographics, right? They're aging in their careers, don't have succession plans in many cases, have the same G2 talent that are pushing them. And so the opportunity is, I feel we're just scratching the surface out there.
Yeah, of the 300
Agreed.
and change deals that get reported this year, those don't count, right? The breakaway RIA, where they're under somebody else's corporate RIA, whether it be a broker dealer or the RIA down the street or whatever. Yeah, I mean, so I think you're right. The window of opportunity is probably double what we think it is. All right, so you've been on the custodial side, you've been in an RIA, you've been on investment banking. Why did you come? Why'd you leave investment banking, which was, I would say rich with opportunity, a heck of a lot of fun from an outsider's perspective, and join a crazy group like ours? What had you come back this way?
Well, I could talk about the people, the two of you.
Nah, that's boring.
No, I want to hear it. Talk about it.
Okay, yeah, tell us more.
No, but I mean, really, it's the swag, right? So I'm wearing that today, and and the fact that you guys were able to find the swag in my size, which is a tall feat, no pun intended.
Yeah.
That alone was amazing. And in fact, I think I shut down our swag store by my request of getting more extra large tall swag. But that's off topic. We don't need to get there. Let's get to the real reason I joined Modern, right? And I mean, it, it does have a lot, and I'm not just kissing up to the founders here. It does have a lot to do with the people. And not just that you guys are stand-up people, and I thought I would enjoy working with you. And over the last 5 weeks, it's been nothing but enjoyment. But it has more to do with where you guys came from, your pedigrees, your experience, what you've seen, what you experience yourself as sellers and as buyers and as advisors, and that the whole makeup of that is what was extremely interesting to me. And to be able to partner with you guys and do something amazing with people that understand not where the business, well, understand where the business was, but more importantly, where it's going at this stage in my career, that's where I want to be. And it just, being there, being a part of it, being a shareholder as part of it as well. I can't think of anything better as I look to retirement down the road, and that's quite a long road. But as I look down the road, that's the firm and that's the company I want to be within. So it was, when we talked about this Gordo several months ago, I think perhaps it was in one of the deals that we did together when I was with Gladstone. We had a conversation about it. It became extremely intriguing. The momentum grew, and I just thought this was the right time for me and my family, and I'm excited about it.
Well, we're excited to have you. I mean, can't even tell you, as Derek said, he's been here 4 or 5 weeks. I think it's 5. Just the immediate impact. And I don't throw around difference maker lightly. I mean, he absolutely has been fantastic. And I know the team is super excited to have him in a leadership role and really guiding all of our partnership development and M&A activity. So let's talk about that for just a minute as we close. You know, multiples, deal volume, it's all widely reported in the media, but you talked a little bit about why somebody would transact or somebody would sell, like their team bringing them along. It's getting a common platform, a network of advisors across the country. It's putting energy back in the business. Maybe it's somebody wants to retire in the next 5 to 10 years and they're looking to improve the business and improve their client experience today. But what are you excited about? What in the industry excites you today? What has you like, wow, that I'm really glad we're evolving to that thing as an industry?
It's the ability to, and we've all experienced this, to see the level of appreciation and the level of excitement that the new partners to Modern Wealth, that they have on their faces, that their staff has, that we don't get in touch as much with the clients, but I'm sure they appreciate as well in going to, and moving to the next stage in their lives and working with Modern, and the time that they have injected back in their days to work on what they enjoy doing versus what happened over time. As you know, a lot of these firms, they started as practices. They were 1-2 person shops. They love working with clients. They love bringing in business, working with prospects. And over time, what turned from a practice into a business. And as we know, a lot of things that are part and parcel to running a business took over their lives, whether it be finance, IT requirements, HR, compliance, legal, all these things in running a business, which can be challenging to somebody who had never run a business before. And for the ability for these for these new partners to Modern to now go back to what they really enjoy doing, what they're good at doing, what brings them pleasure, not only excites them, but in some cases for people that may have had a 3 to 5 year runway before they wanted to retire, that's extended that runway because they're back to doing what they enjoy doing.
Yeah,
And
they found joy
realize,
again. Yeah,
yeah, they have that joy, that excitement, that that sense of satisfaction of why they got up every day and made a difference in somebody's lives. And there's an element of trust, as you know, that they're trusting us with the services and the platform that we've centralized at scale, that we can do better than they can do, faster and less expensive than what they can do, which injected that more of that time into their lives. And so that is, to see that unfold in front of you is just simply amazing. And it just makes me feel great, makes you guys I know feel great. And that extends to our whole team. And I see that on a daily basis.
that's awesome. Yeah, I love it. Any final questions, Kier?
Yeah, I do actually have a question. Just going back to your basketball days. So as a center, you're 6'10". So the forwards were a little shorter than you, I assume, right? Like, what height maybe would one of the forwards be?
6'6", 6'7", shorter.
6'7". 6'7"?
Oh boy, 6'7".
Yeah.
Here we go. Okay.
Yeah.
You got to do this
So-
thing.
That was a long setup to get you to say 6'7". That was all. That was all I was going for.
Was that what you were going? I thought
That was it.
I thought
That was it.
The whole setup was just to get you to go.
It's a
6'7".
bit.
I fell right into it. I didn't do
You
the
did, yeah.
hand thing.
I thought you were going to start
but-
with like 6'8". I was worried.
I
I'm
thought
glad you
your
came
line
up.
of questioning was getting to where would you fit in the team,
Water boy.
with your
We'd be a hell of great water
Me?
boys. We'd be
Where
great
would I
water
fit
boys.
in?
Yeah.
yeah.
You remember? Well, I mean, obviously, with 2 new hips now, I might be able to jump 2 or 3 inches. So I think I'm a shooting guard. No, I'm not. Basketball's not my sport.
One of my favorite lines Derek has shared with me is from I believe it was your Stanford coach. You tell the line about the race.
Yeah, there's certain things you can teach in basketball, right? You can teach somebody how to shoot a better jump shot. You can teach them about how to block out better on rebounding and things like that. But as my coaches often told me, you can't teach height.
You can't.
That was good. But he also would say you can't teach quickness, which hurt a little bit more because, I thought I was quick for a 6'10" guy, but he reminded me once that Brew, which was my nickname in college, he goes, "Brew, I think you come in third in a race with a pregnant woman," which, when you think about that,
That's
and
good.
you think about that and visualize that. I mean, that leaves a deep stain in your soul, and it carries for a long time. But
That's
anyway,
good.
That was awesome.
So
The baby came in
and
first too.
back, but she
Yeah,
was
the baby actually won.
in 8th grade. Gary, to give you some perspective, I was 6'8". So
That's crazy.
and so I was always picked first. By when we had pickup basketball, so that was good. But as you get into your into high school and then college, you recognize, you're playing against other 6'8", 6'10" people, and they can jump and they're pretty quick. And it becomes tougher at different levels. That's why you look at some of the players in the NBA today who've made it through high school, college, and now exceeding at pro level. And you understand why very, very few actually make it to that level. So it's pretty cool.
All right, this has been the Modcast, episode number 16 with Derek Bruton. Welcome to the firm, buddy. Love having you here. And if you have any questions, reach out. Modcast.show, all your favorite listening platforms. I'm getting better at this, remembering to do that part anyway.
You're a pro.
I'm not saying I'm better at the podcast, but I am better at the Modcast.show and all your favorite listening platforms.
Listen,
right?
by the time you do something 16 times, you should know a little bit about it.
Yeah, maybe there's a
Right.
note on my monitor as well.
Perfect.